Now, new, live, and local, and every weekday from 8 to 9 a.m. This is the show talking about what you want to know, what you need to know, and part of Woof Boom Radio's mission to use our voice to build our community. The all-new Delaware County Today, presented by Muncie Community Schools. Now on WMUN, the Talk of Muncie. Here's your host, Director of News Operations and lead morning anchor, Steve Lindell.
Here we are, day after primary. We have expert analysis in a moment. Stand by. People are talking about the weather. It not like yesterday, but it is cooler. We have listeners everywhere. Welcome in Hawaii today. Wow, we're getting out there. Steve Lindell live from WMUN's Studio B. Let's start with our weather first and foremost. We always get that from meteorologist Paul Poteet.
Good morning. Widespread wet weather yesterday. Rain amounts well over an inch. In some cases around east central Indiana, about an inch and a third of precipitation that's moving off to the east now this morning. We're left with lots of leftover clouds today and a high temperature of 59. 38 with some clearing tonight. And then will be partly sunny Thursday, high of 60. The outlook for Friday has us up to 66, but with some shower chances by later in the day and into Friday night. At the moment, Saturday is much nicer than Sunday, 74, and some sunshine around then. Periods of showers, maybe some thunder on Sunday, with a high of 69. We're into the 60s and 70s for high temperatures next week. That's WMUN Muncie weather. And now, back to Steve.
Hourly updates with that guy, Paul Poteet, on WMUN and the rest of the Woof Boom Radio group. Let's bring him into the super close-up shot now. Dr. Chad Kinsella. It's kind of a Ball State day today. I've got you now representing the U, as it were, political science and analysis of elections, etc. Later in the hour, Mick Tidrow, voice of Cardinals. He will not analyze the election primary whatsoever. But we have you for that, and we're very thankful. Generally speaking, what are your opening thoughts about yesterday, how it went, especially in our part of the state?
It went pretty well, I would say. It was wet, but I think it was an interesting day. There were a lot of things that happened, obviously, around the state and here locally. So, yeah, interesting day. I think it was interesting. There was national coverage last night. It was almost like a presidential election, the way it was being covered. Some of those state Senate races, which otherwise I think, had that not happened, would have passed, unnoticed and unanalyzed, in the election. But a completely different, a lot of national focus on Indiana with a whole lot of those Senate seats.
We'll start with the vote center change for Delaware County. I think you and your Ball State counterparts were out trying to get some data points to see how people were reacting and doing with the learning of that. Too early to tell, I assume, with what the impact of the feel was.
So, yeah, we at least got to talk to some people. Yes, so I still have some of the survey results are in my car this morning, so I've got to deliver all of those as soon as we're done here. But, yeah, so Delaware County moved to vote centers, so we're one of a majority now of counties throughout the state that have vote centers. So vote centers just allow people to vote wherever they want, and it's supposed to be a bigger convenience.
And I heard good things personally as far as where we were voting and around the building here, too, on the south side of Muncie, where we work every day. And sometimes and oftentimes we don't reside immediately where we work, and that was some of the conveniences of it, too. Rick Spangler is the Delaware County clerk. I heard nothing but good reports from him so far, so I'm sure we'll ferret it out, and we'll talk about whatever might need to change or be communicated before the November election. Now we know who's running for what. Let's start with this. Were there any surprises from your standpoint as far as who was victorious and moved on last night?
Not really. I think it kind of went more or less kind of, I think, as expected, so to speak. I think Victoria Spartz had a closer election than I had anticipated. She still won handily 60-40, and then you had a very contested primary on the Democratic side, and J.D. Ford won that. Locally, actually lost by a few votes here in Delaware County, but overall won.
I think Victoria Spartz lost in Delaware County, too, if I remember seeing those numbers correctly.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I guess you would say, not her home territory. Yeah. She's obviously a Hamilton County person, and a lot more votes in that area as well.
And again, for our listeners that are outside of the immediate area, it's not just a Muncie, Delaware County vote for those congressional seats, of course. That's for the district that they are in charge of. Jefferson Shreve, Republican, he won and advanced.
He did, but it was I had really not even heard about that election. So
Me either.
It was
real, and look at the business that I'm in.
So I have a friend who follows politics, very closely. He said, "Hey, Jefferson Shreve is in a shootout. He is in trouble." But I think he ended up winning. But it was like less than 5 points. It was really it was a very tight race for him.
One of the other statewide type of races to make analysis of, the Andre Carson race, he did win and advance in his.
He did. So he had a very closely. And again, if you're a Democrat in the state, it's tough to find a place to run. So like Indianapolis has got to be your place. So he was against, and again, Wells is a well-known person. She had run twice previously in statewide races, so she had some really good name ID, but ended up coming up short. And he won pretty handily, given that he had a pretty diverse and a large number of people that were running against him. So he ended up winning, rounding up kind of 60-40 again.
In the House Senate, Scott Alexander wins and advances over his competitor. How do you see that race shaking out, moving on to the general now, because obviously it's 1D versus 1R there.
So, and I think in Delaware County, we're going to have a lot more, at least kind of contested races. So we'll have to see. A lot of it's going to be kind of, what happens nationally. I think it's who's more excited and what happens, because I think a lot of what could happen, some of these lower races all the way down to things that happen in Delaware County could, if there is like a blue wave, and we always talk about waves, and again, typically what happens is the out party, which are Democrats at this point, do better in your midterm. So it's just going to be, do they do better, and how much, and could something like that be swept up? And it remains to be seen.
This is Dr. Chad Kinsella from Ball State University. He is a specialist in the field of what we're talking about. We are very pleased and proud to have the good fortune of being connected to him to get his take and his analysis on after election outcomes. The primary election just yesterday. One of the other things that the state of Indiana was impacted by was President Trump, as it related to some of those that he is not pleased with. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, I think that's a nice way of putting it.
And the outcomes there, what were you thinking there?
It was so, just wild, if you really. So I can't find in history where a president cared at all about a state Senate district anywhere, let alone, some places in Indiana. So you have, again, the state Senate voted against redistricting. And President Trump obviously was not happy about that, and trying, again, everybody's trying to stack the deck a little bit better in their favor for the midterms. So, again, that was going to be like the play in Indiana. It didn't go well, so he went after several different members of the state Senate to unseat them, and was largely fairly successful in that last night, which was a little, again, like, if you think about, those are very localized races, and that's where name ID, because it's the primary, you don't have a party ID to provide guidance for people. So it's name ID completely. And so the fact that they were able to pump that much money and that much knowledge and unseat multiple different state senators across the state, really, particularly in the northern section of the state, is just very interesting and shocking.
On the subject, we're talking to Dr. Chad Kinsella from Ball State University, poli-sci, public administration, American politics, all his specialties. On the subject of redistricting, of course, we've heard about it incessantly in recent history here. It's very complicated to my mind. I'm sure to you it's not so crazy complicated, but I think to the general populace that aren't as dialed into it as some others, I think it just sounds to me like a lot of noise that we don't understand. Is that a safe way to put it? And the other secondary question is, I don't know how it works. Is it something they can try to deal with before the general election, or does it not work that way?
I don't think that, I mean, anything is possible. But again, those senators, even though that they lost last night, they are still going to be around until, after in 2027. So nothing really changed right now in the state Senate. So those people are still going to be there. Redistricting is typically, it's done after the census, and we have to count people, and people move. People, like, there's a lot more people in Florida than there ever used to be. There's more people in Florida than New York. And, my parents still talk about that. I can't believe it. And then even internally within a state, people move. And so we have to recount those people, and those districts have to be roughly the same size, within less than 1% of each other. But what is unusual has happened is that's usually done. It was done in 2020, and we redrew those districts in 2022. So did pretty much every other state. Okay. And so a lot of other states, considered and have done redistricting, in 2025, which is a very odd thing to do. But it happened in California, happened in Texas, Missouri, Virginia, across the board. And so Indiana is one of those states. And so you could redraw it, and they have that information, and you can look. And what happens is we have so much information about how people vote and all of these different things that we've gotten very technical in drawing these districts, and we can draw them, and they don't even look all that bad if you look at them on a map, but they can give a partisan edge one way or the other.
Gotcha. Dr. Chad Kinsella is our guest. WMUN's Delaware County Today, live every morning, 8 to 9 a.m. and on demand, the YouTube page. By the way, do the cameras bother you, or are you okay? You're a superstar. You're a big shot. You deal with paparazzi all the time, don't you, Chad?
Not just my kids, but yeah.
I understand you had a concert last night, yes?
Yes, we had a concert at Burris.
How'd that go?
It went very well, but it was long.
Was it singing or playing? What kind of concert?
Playing.
Okay, very good. Instrument?
Middle school and high school. My son plays plays an instrument. He's brass.
Very good. I have no skills whatsoever in those regards.
Nor do I.
Back to politics. That's your specialty. One of the other bigger races around here in the immediate area is the Sue Arrington race, District 34, state representative. She's decided to not seek re-election in the first time in forever, so that seat is going to change. So it'll be Richard Ivey against Sarah Gullion in that one. With Sue Arrington obviously endorsing her replacement. How big of an impact do you think that has in that particular regard?
Gosh, well, I mean, I think before yesterday I would have said, endorsements don't matter much. But again, President Trump kind of upended that. But again, so it's a very competitive district. And again, it was, with redistricting, it was redrawn a little bit, and it's a lot more competitive. And it was competitive for Sue, I think, for, it was like 55, 45, election. So with new people, and, it could be interesting. And so you have two, Sarah's on city council. Richard Ivey was on city council, worked for the mayor. So he's got they both have pretty good name ID. So it's going to it'll be an interesting race. It'll be a competitive race in that area.
One of the other, or some of the other races in Delaware County, just in case our listeners and viewers haven't tracked it so far, there was a judge race for Judicial Circuit number 5. Ben Freeman, the Republican, will head to November and face Amanda Dunnick, the Democrat, in that one. Matt Kantz for Delaware County Commissioner District 3, Republican County Council member, will face Democrat Ken Mace. And then for Delaware County Council District 4, incumbent Republican Jim Mokel defeated ex-council member Ryan Webb, and the Democrat nominee is Michael Durall on that one. The primary turnout typically isn't great. It isn't awesome, and just over 17% showed up yesterday in the rain.
Yes, I mean, turnout's tough, and it's a primary, and it's depending upon how competitive it is. And then, the rain never helps turnout.
It wasn't in our immediate area, but I heard Hamilton County had a larger influx of early voting. Had you heard any of that stuff?
I had not heard about that, but that would make sense. I mean, early voting it's a nice thing to have.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I enjoy myself, and it's like it's the convenience factor of all of that. Now, Hamilton County does not have vote centers, but they do have that early voting, and so it would make sense that there's a lot more people taking advantage of that.
Right, for some of the reasons that we talked about earlier in the interview. Anything I haven't touched on this morning that you would like to share or impart wisdom-wise for our viewers and listeners?
No, I mean, it's just going to be it. It's the table's set now, so to speak, for the midterm. So, there's a lot still to have happen. So we're just now in May. We've got several more states, I should say, that have primaries, and so we're going to see what happens. So there's a lot of chatter about what could happen. President Trump's popularity is pretty low, so we'll have to see. But I mean, it's still May. We've got a long way to go. It's going to get warm again and then cold. So we got a long way to go before that midterm. So there's a lot more. I always talk about it like a pie. There's a lot more ingredients that have to go in the pie before we know what's coming out.
Are we 6 months until the general? Am I doing that math right? Pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, almost exact actually. So we're about 6 months out of it.
We got to keep putting up with all this chatter for 6 more months. It's just how it works. And we are certainly glad that those that did get out to vote yesterday did so. And we encourage you to do even better in the general election and be an informed voter too. We're going to try to help with that, with a connection with Dr. Kinsella and many others in our immediate area, to try to make sure you have access to those candidates too, to hear what they're talking about and what they're saying. That's part of what we do here on WMUN. Dr. Kinsella, always a pleasure to see you, and thanks very much for your time and efforts.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. This is Delaware County Today. I'm Steve Lindell. More in a moment on WMUN.
As you know, managing maintenance, repair, and operations is never easy. But for the ones who always rise to the challenge, Grainger has your back. From professional-grade products you can count on to fast, dependable delivery, they're there to help you keep things running smoothly. Plus, their technical product specialists are here to help answer your toughest questions. And because Grainger knows safety is always a priority, they're committed to being your partner in protecting both your people and your facilities. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by.
The playoffs are in full force, and you can trade every game and series on Kalshi. New York is trading at 5% to win the finals. That means a $100 trade pays out $1,870 if they win it all. On Kalshi, you're trading against other people in a live market. That means no house and no odds makers. And as the odds move, you can buy in or out anytime throughout the postseason. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app, use code PROVE to get $10 when you trade 10. Kalshi, Kalshi. Trade on anything.
Every sports season is built on preparation, studying the trends, making necessary adjustments to reach the ultimate goal. Investing deserves the same approach. With Webull, you have access to real-time market data, advanced tools, and an intuitive app designed to help you make informed decisions. Trade stocks, options, ETFs, and more, or set up an IRA for the long term, all in one platform. Get your financial portfolio game ready by downloading the Webull app today or visiting Webull.com.
Webull Financial LLC, member SIPC FINRA. Investing involves risk. For more information, visit Webull.com/disclosures.
Too many families face a widening gap between what they can afford and what they need to thrive. More than half of families in the U.S. today are one paycheck away from financial crisis. At Good 360, we deliver hope when families need it most, providing essentials like clothing, hygiene items, and household goods. Put help within reach. Learn more at good360.org.
Want to hear more? Replays uploaded daily on WMUNmuncie.com. Now back to Delaware County Today with Steve Lindell, presented by Muncie Community School.
It is May the 6th at 8:24 a.m. Muncie time. I am told there is a crash on northbound I-69 just south of Daleville. All lanes shut down. That is from our sports director, Kurt Darling. Eyes on target there. Again, repeating, that is right now on May the 6th, 8:24 in the morning. There is a crash on northbound Interstate 69 just south of Daleville. All lanes are shut down. All right, let's get on to our next item of the day today. How about a snapshot of your day?
It's May 6th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is National Nurses Day, which is actually the start of National Nurses Week. The day is meant to raise awareness, acknowledge, and honor the contributions of nurses and the vital role they play in society. National Nurses Week ends on May 12th, the birthday of Florence Nightingale. Also on this date, in 1954, English athlete Roger Bannister became the first person to run a sub-4-minute mile with a time of 3 minutes 59.4 seconds at the Iffley Road Track in Oxford, England. And the series finale of the hit sitcom Friends aired in 2004. Nearly 53 million Americans tuned in to watch Ross, Rachel, Chandler, Joey, Monica, and Phoebe say goodbye after 10 seasons on the air. If it's your birthday today, you share it with baseball great and Hall of Famer, the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays, born in 1931, and actor George Clooney, born in 1961. I'm Tushar Saxena with your Fox Daily Snapshot.
On WMUN with listeners on the 92.5 FM and the 1340 AM. Of course, terrestrial radio, the original social media. We also have listeners, as I mentioned earlier, in Hawaii. I'm still impressed by that. Portland, Oregon, Sister Sherry's always on, and apparently we have a birthday. Happy 29th to AJ, who's getting married this year in August. Ooh, thank you, sister. Let's see, I think Mama is on. Hold on, I got to look to be sure. Yes, there's Mama in Minnesota. And Roger, too. We have Ohio, Canton, and Mansfield listening. Kansas City, Missouri. Greenwood, South Carolina. Xenia, Ohio. Tijuana's on again this morning. California, lots of you. Thanks for having us on in Long Beach, Sacramento, Rialto, and West Covina. I think I'm saying that right. If I'm not, send me an email and yell at me. People do that sometimes. Please be nice. Email address is WMUN@woofboom.com, WMUN@woofboom.com. Now, more findings are out on the benefits of drinking a cup of coffee.
This is House Call for Health. A daily cup of joe can give you an energy boost, but it could also protect against aging and possibly help ward off chronic diseases. For decades, research has linked coffee consumption to longer life and lower risk of chronic disease. Now scientists say they figured out how. Texas A&M researchers say it isn't the caffeine, but rather compounds in coffee which activate a receptor in the body, recognized for its role in aging, stress response, and disease. The study finding that compounds like polyhydroxy and plant-based polyphenols were much more active. But despite the apparent connection, more research needs to be done, with the researchers noting that current recommendations around coffee consumption are not changing. Researchers also say the study is mechanistic, focusing on how the biological process works instead of proving direct cause and effect. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health, I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
On WMUN, News Talk, Sports Talk, Community Talk, we're the talk radio of Muncie. Feel free to call and leave us a message sometime. That voicemail number is 289-6397, 289-6397. We take compliments that way, too. Thank you. Hold on, our news summary with a lot to cover, a lot more of the election results from last night's primary finish, and a whole lot more through the hour. And Mick Tidrow later. We're going through it. Delaware County Today on WMUN.
Guys, if you want the greatest night of your life, I mean your best night ever, then you gotta hear this. There's a great ED pill out, and it's from the makers of Viagra. It's their ED pill called Viagra AGV, and it's unbelievable. It works super fast in as little as 12 minutes and lasts up to 12 hours. Plus, it's FDA approved and safe. You need to try it for yourself. It's unreal what it does to you. Viagra AGV crushes every other ED pill, and it's endorsed by the head of urology at the prestigious Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Beverly Hills, Dr. Dudley Danoff. Every man alive needs to try this amazing, remarkable Viagra AGV pill at least once. It's beyond belief. Then you'll know why men are going crazy over it. So if you want to have the most incredible night of your life, you can't miss this. Go to scoreblue.com and try it while supplies last. Go to scoreblue.com, scoreblue.com. That's scoreblue.com. Viagra AGV is available only at scoreblue.com by prescription, no doctor visit.
You know the feeling. That rush when you reach that goal? Make somebody brag a little back home? That's success. And at University of Maryland Global Campus, we believe you should never stop chasing it. That's why UMGC offers an accredited skills-based education that helps move your career forward. We'll teach you how to apply emerging technologies like AI and data science, plus build your skills in leadership, communication, and critical thinking. Explore more than 135 degrees and certificates in business, cybersecurity, healthcare, and more. With affordable and online programs, you can unlock new opportunities to help you succeed again. At UMGC, success is yours for the taking and the making, and nothing should keep you from it, especially not an application fee. Apply now and we'll waive your application fee. Classes start May 13th. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Business and economic development drives the 765. That's why WMUN News Radio created the website and the weekly radio show called 765businessjournal.com, Mondays from 9 to 9:30 a.m. Hosted by longtime Muncie resident and former broadcaster Lefay Pagese. Sponsored by IU Health, Town of Yorktown, MIPS, Ivy Tech Community College Muncie, Minnetrista, YMCA of Muncie. If you have tips or questions about business and economic development, email WMUN@woofboom.com. That's WMUN@woofboom.com. You can also call and leave a voice message at 289-6397. Live, weekdays from 8 to 9 a.m. with replays later. This is the daily Delaware County Today with Steve Lindell.
Thank you, Tom Campbell, voice of WMUN from Studio B on the campus of Woof Boom Radio. Delaware County Today is live from 8 to 9 a.m. local time and on demand later on WMUNmuncie.com. It's also viewable later on our brand newest YouTube page that I can actually show you right now if I click to the right button. That is a previous program airing on the big back screen on the wall here inside Studio B. The YouTube page name is Woof Boom Studio B. Coming up in a moment, we'll have comments from Sparts and Banks and the Indiana Democratic Party. First, our local news summary. These stories and more airing on all of our stations in East Central Indiana today. And now for you right here on WMUN. The Indiana primary election is complete. For State Senator District 26, Republican Scott Alexander will face unopposed Democrat Andrew Dale. United States Representative 5th District, the Republican incumbent Victoria Sparts will face Democrat J.D. Ford, who defeated 6 other candidates. Jefferson Shreve secured the Republican nomination for Indiana's 6th District last night. Just over 17% of registered voters turned out in Delaware County, about 3.5% more than the previous off-year primary. Hamilton Southeastern Schools is planning to cut staff as enrollment drops and budget pressures increase.
Nearly 60 positions are being cut, including 18 elementary teachers who received layoff notices this week. Those teachers will be placed on a 2-year recall list. Superintendent Matt Kegley said the district spent months reviewing staffing and enrollment trends and finances before making the decision. Ryan Hedrick, Network Indiana.
The Delaware County Football Club is our hometown hero for May. Director Lon Fox said the club started with a combination of two previous clubs in 2009 and continues to grow exponentially.
We have roughly about 500 kids in the rec program, the Recreation League, and another 300 in our travel team league. So 800 kids per season. That's a lot of families. That's a lot of people that we serve in our soccer community.
The National Rifle Association says it's a fan of Indianapolis. John Herrick reports on what it has planned.
It was in Indianapolis in 2014, 2019, and 2023. Now the National Rifle Association makes its return to Indianapolis for its annual meetings and exhibits in 2029 and 2031. John Herrick, Network Indiana.
The April weather summary from the National Weather Service showed an all-time warmest April on record at Indianapolis and the 72nd driest April on record at the airport. Muncie's average temperature was 6.2 degrees higher than normal. Muncie's rain was about 0.7 of an inch higher than normal. The Indiana primary election is complete. In the contested race for State Representative District 34 to replace Sue Arrington, Richard Ivey advances to face the unopposed Democrat Sarah Gullion. Results of some of the contested races in Delaware County for Judge, Delaware Circuit Court 46, Judicial Circuit Number 5. Republican Ben Freeman heads to November, will face Democrat Amanda Dunnock. Delaware County Commissioner District 3, Matt Kantz, Republican County Council member, will face Democrat Ken Mace. Delaware County Council District 4, incumbent Republican Jim Mokel defeated ex-council member Ryan Webb. The Democrat nominee is Michael Durall.
Indiana Republican State Senator Travis Holdman losing to President Trump-backed Bluffton City Councilman Blake Fichter in the state's 19th district. But in District 38, GOP State Senator Greg Good held off a challenge from President Trump-endorsed Vigo County Councilwoman Brenda Wilson. The president had vowed to endorse the challengers of 7 GOP state senators who were among those that voted to block the White House's push to redraw Indiana's congressional map mid-decade. Kristen Goodwin.
The Colts Kicking the Stigma campaign is all about mental health awareness. Director Brett Kramer explained the effort.
Make it somebody's business to be in your corner, because I guarantee somebody cares about you in that way where it would be a privilege for them to be that person for you.
Hall of Fame safety Brian Dawkins spoke to the team recently.
The Food and Drug Administration has given the green light for electronic cigarettes to go fruit-flavored for adult smokers. The authorization comes as teen vaping has dropped to a 10-year low. John Saucier, Fox News.
The Flagship Enterprise Center in Anderson will host a Shift Business Leadership Conference Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at its headquarters on Enterprise Drive. Registration $79 is a link on our news page today. The Indiana primary election is complete. For Madison County Sheriff, incumbent Republican John Beeman will be opposed in November by Democrat Norman Rayford Jr. Beeman looking to become the first Republican to win 2 consecutive terms as sheriff since John Gunter did it in 70 and 74.
Biotech billionaire and former GOP presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy defeating internet personality Casey Putsch in the Republican primary for Ohio governor. In November, the 40-year-old will face Democrat Amy Acton. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Teenagers in Marion County now face new curfew times.
The curfew now sends 15 and 16-year-olds home by 11 on weekends and 9 on weeknights. Kids under 15 at a nightly 9 o'clock cutoff and leaves 17-year-olds under the current rules until 5 a.m.
I certainly agree with the suggestions that the counselors brought up. Our kids do need people to walk alongside them.
IMPD Chief Tanya Terry says overall violence is down in Indianapolis, but more teenagers are being caught in shootings. Jake McDaniel, Network, Indiana.
The IHSAA voted down that proposal this week to adopt a shot clock in basketball, but Indy Star sports reporter Kyle Nedenrip says momentum continues to build for the rule change across the nation.
State associations across the country have added a shot clock, so I think now this past year there was 32 states that now have a shot clock in across the USA, and you know, a big reason for kind of that turnaround is the National Federation started to allow states to do so.
The Indiana Fever a few days away from their regular season opener against the Dallas Wings. Head coach Stephanie White on what she wants the identity of the team to be.
Fast-paced team that's really hard to guard. We want the ball moving side to side. You know, really the goal is to play 0.5 to 1 second basketball, get a lot of player movement and ball movement.
Today's the final day to sign up for the Delaware County Fair Queen pageant. There's a meeting 7 p.m. at Heartland Hall at the Muncie Fairgrounds. More local every day on our free WoofBoomNews.com. And a little more on the election with some comments from some of the candidates. As promised, Victoria Spartz issued a statement following her win to be the re-nominated member of the general election for the 5th Congressional District. Quoting, "I look forward to a fall campaign focused on real policies that benefit all Americans and a clear contrast between my professional and legislative record and that of my opponent," the words of Victoria Spartz. The Indiana Democratic Party responding to the primary results, the words of the chair, Karen Tallien, included, and I quote, "Democracy is not a spectator sport, and hundreds of thousands of Hoosiers made their voices heard in this primary. Indiana has been known for low voter turnout, but today Hoosiers showed that's starting to change." She continued, "Trump and Mike Braun spent millions of dollars targeting their fellow Republicans. This fight reflects a party in shambles. They spent millions of dollars on ads attacking each other while Hoosiers struggle with $5 a gallon gas." Some of the words of Chair Karen Tallien of the Indiana Democratic Party. One more candidate statement here. That includes Jim Banks and his words, quoting now, "Everyone in Indiana politics should have learned an important lesson today. President Trump is the single most popular Republican among Hoosier voters. Indiana is a conservative state, and we deserve conservatives in our state Senate who have a pulse on Republican voters," unquote. The words of Jim Banks in a statement issued last night after the primary election results were known. We'll continue with more through the hour. In a moment, we'll get closer to the Zoom room appearance of the voice of the Cardinals, and now the soon-to-be voice of another big sport, too. We'll cover that in a moment. This is Delaware County Today on WMUN.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio. I'm Gary Dick. Indianapolis International Airport is adding JetBlue to its roster of airlines starting November 2nd with a once-daily nonstop flight to Fort Lauderdale via Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. The airport says the new nonstop will also give travelers multiple connections to Caribbean destinations. The all-new IndyCar chassis that will be in play for the 2028 season is again being designed and built by Italy's Delaware, the series' exclusive chassis supplier, but much of the work is being done in Indianapolis, says IMS President Doug Bowles.
A lot of the car was already built here, but more of the car will now be built here in Indianapolis, which will really be nice. So it's an Italian car, obviously, but a lot of it now is going to be built here, which really connects us further. You know, the racing capital of the world, we need those cars built right here.
Columbus-based Cummins is closing its Whitestown distribution site and terminating about 59 employees, all part of a consolidation effort. You're listening to Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Today, you either innovate or evaporate. We are accelerating the pursuit of progress, from the foods we eat to the heights we soar, because this is Indiana, the innovation capital of the world. We rally visionaries across industries, invest in connections as much as capital, and fuel our founders from dorm room to boardroom. Fuel your innovation with Elevate Ventures. Visit elevateventures.com.
We build Indiana. The Laborers International Union of North America are men and women building roads and bridges to get Hoosiers where they're going today and a new energy infrastructure that will keep Indiana competitive tomorrow. LIUNA's over 12,000 statewide members also grow local economies, earning good union wages, shopping where they live and work, and paying taxes. We build Indiana for good jobs and stronger communities. The Laborers International Union of North America. We are LIUNA.
Here in Muncie, we know what it means to show up for one another. We celebrate our wins, big and small. And when times get tough, we lean in, not away. At WMUN, we're more than just a voice on the radio. We are your neighbor, your friend, your connection to what matters most. Every morning, we wake up with you, sharing the stories of our city, highlighting the heroes you don't always hear about, and cheering on the teams that carry our hopes on their shoulders. This isn't just news and sports. This is home. From the streets of downtown to the heart of Delaware County, We're here because you're here. Thanks for letting WMUN be part of your day. We're proud to be your hometown station. Listen to Delaware County Today on Alexa. Just enable the skill, then say, Alexa, play WMUN. Now back to Steve Lindell.
I love this business, especially when we have all this technology and fun and zooming going on. Look at that. That is the V.O.C. and soon to be the V.O.F. Apparently, we'll get to that in just a moment. This is none other than Mr. Mick Tidrow, the voice of the Cardinals in our WMUN Zoom room. How are you this fine day, sir?
Great, Steve. It's a beautiful day. The sun is shining, and we've got some really good things happening around Ball State sports. So it's always a good time to have a conversation.
I'm going to start with volleyball first. Is there a send-off today for the guys that you're aware of?
There is a send-off. Yeah, it's happening today, and it's coming up in a couple of hours, Steve. So you might want to plan accordingly. I know your schedule is usually pretty clear every single minute of every single day because you have so much time on your hands. But the send-off is taking place at the Worthing Arena loading dock at noon. So get ready to celebrate the team. Send them off to LA.
So they're at the loading dock. Are they putting them on a cargo truck, or what are they doing there? What's going on?
No, that's just the easiest place to get everybody together, Steve. You know that. You know that.
So with respect to said volleyball, we've got some work to do, but there's only a couple of more chances to win games, and they are huge chances. So tell us what happens when, and what do you think the prognosis might be for what happens?
Yeah, so the semifinals, Final Four begins on Saturday the 9th. And that's just in a couple of days. And Ball State plays UC Irvine, which that matchup was awesome to get, but also pretty remarkable how it happened because UC Irvine playing the top-ranked team, UCLA, and it went in 5 sets. UCLA thought they had won, and then UC Irvine challenged, and it ended up being UC Irvine's point. They came back, scored the next couple of points, and so UCLA didn't win. UC Irvine takes the match and heads to the Final Four. And so you're coming into this match with two teams that just won thrilling 5-set matchups. And Ball State now has to go into pretty hostile territory in terms of being the lone team not from the West Coast or Hawaii in the Final Four. And that's a task that the Cardinals, I think, are ready for, Steve. This team is built to win in those types of games. They almost beat UCLA earlier this year in the regular season. So you look at how the Cardinals have stacked up. They took down a great Pepperdine team, which had been the only team to beat UCLA until a couple days ago, all season long. So the Cardinals have put themselves in a great spot. The way that Patrick Rogers has cemented his legacy as one of the best players in Ball State history, not just volleyball. Like he's one of the best athletes to ever go to Ball State. And I think that's pretty much set in stone with how this year's gone for him. But it's exciting. We can't wait.
I remember the day on WMUN that you had the interview with the athletic director when he was explaining that whole nature of elite NCAA athlete. I had no clue that was even a thing until we were talking about that with Jeff Mitchell. Cacography, by the way, I know you're thinking cacography is our WMUN word of the day. Why are you shaking your head? You are a learned professor of words.
Yes, but I'm not going to go down the path of pretending to know I know what that word means.
Well, you're going to have to use it before the end of the interview in order to get the points. So I'm just saying.
Well, how do you spell it? How do you spell it?
Like that matters? Cacography. Cacography. Next question is baseball related. While you quickly grab your phone and try and see what that definition is, we still got some regular season to go, don't we?
I have poor cacography. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
Bad
pretty good.
Poor penmanship.
All right. He can use a computer to do a quick search.
Does that count?
Yes, that's well done. Okay, baseball, go.
Baseball, man, we're a couple weekends left of the regular season, Steve.
Crazy.
I can't get that out of my head now. It's crazy.
I know.
2 weekends left, and they've got some work to do, I think, and they'll be the first to tell you after being swept by Toledo. That was a it's a series where they struggled, but what we've known from Coach Maloney teams is they can bounce back. And they'll have to do it in fast fashion because NIU is the second best team in the conference this year and has some of the best pitching staff, just like Toledo did and just like UMass did the last couple series. So Ball State needs to try and win that Friday game. That first game of the series against one of the best arms in the league, Cardinals got to jump out early, find a way to get that offense flowing in the first couple of innings, and then find a way to bounce back. Because what they're up against, Steve, is they're only 2 games ahead for that last spot in the MAC tournament standings right now. And UMass is 2 games back from them, but UMass took the series against the Cardinals. So you don't want to end up tied. So really, Ball State's 1 game up, because if their record becomes even with UMass, UMass wins that tiebreaker. So you have to be careful with that. But first things first, you got to take care of business, at least win the series against NIU on the road, and then have one more series against Bowling Green at home.
Final item for this morning, V.O.C, Voice of Cardinals, is now the V.O.F. Am I saying that correctly, Mr. Voice of Fever?
Well, not Voice of Fever, Steve. John Nolan's play-by-play voice of Fever, Pat Boylan on the TV side of things, but helping out with some hosting on the radio for the Fever Radio Network, pre-half post, doing some sideline reporting as well. So very grateful for that opportunity and grateful for the folks at Ball State, namely Jeff Mitchell, for being open to me pursuing that opportunity as well and not having conflicts with Ball State and things like that. But just grateful for the Fever and for Ball State for both working with the schedules and finding a way to make it happen. And it'll be exciting. Season opener on the regular season side is on Saturday. Had fun with the 2 preseason games at home, and now we get to do it for real on Saturday. So it'll be fun.
No truth to the rumor, by the way, that his weekly show here on WMUN on Thursday mornings is stopping because of his Fever work. That was all planned. That was all prepared.
We'll put that out there for the record. Yes, tomorrow is the last day of the show, but that was planned.
It's just for a little bit of a respite. Thank you very much, Mr. Tidrow. Have a great rest of your day.
I appreciate you, Steve. Thank you so much. Go Cards.
All right. That is the voice of the Cardinals, Mick Tidrow, on the WMUN. Next item this morning, the nation's top military officer recognized the work of a specific division of our military.
Securing America.
During Tuesday's press briefing concerning U.S. operations in Iran, Joint Chiefs Chairman General Dan Kane took some time to recognize the efforts of the Army's 82nd Airborne Division, U.S. paratroopers, who the general says are always ready.
The 82nd is the core of our nation's immediate response force and ready to deploy within hours of notice.
The chairman says the 82nd is not just limited to jumping out of planes.
They can do the range of missions, from counterinsurgency to counterterrorism operations to power projection, as they have many times over the course of the history of this great division.
And that they are at the cutting edge of technology.
They use next-generation tactical networks that are AI-enabled to augment intelligence and operations.
General Kane added 82nd personnel
are doing so in support of Project Freedom as we speak.
Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
WMUN, News Talk, Sports Talk, Community Talk. I am certain that Mr. Katz, Tony Katz, will have a lot to talk about with respect to analysis of the Indiana primary election. That'll be noon to 3 today and every day. Tony Katz today, one of the many things that we bring you on WMUN, 92.5 FM, 1340 AM. You can listen live 8 to 9 a.m. with this program from Studio B. Watch it later on YouTube, the channel named Wolf Boom Studio B. Now, from the way back machine, a 2019 do-good story.
The Dean's List. The Dean with Janice Dean.
A Girl Scout getting the honor of a lifetime after rescuing a young boy makes today's Dean's List. A 2.5-year-old boy had fallen into the water at Woodbridge North Lake in Irvine, California, near where Ava and her friends were playing. Ava was not a strong swimmer, but her quick thinking led her to wade into the water and extend a large stick for the boy to grab onto and saved him from drowning. Vicki Shep, the CEO of Girl Scouts of Orange County, presented the award to Ava, who was a cadet from Troop 1967 in Irvine. They posted on social media, Girl Scouts are prepared to do heroic things. We are very proud of Ava's exemplary actions, which reflect the Girl Scout promise to help others at all times. For more than 100 years, Girl Scouts of America has celebrated girls whose actions saved the lives of others. The award is presented to Scouts ages 5 to 17 who save or attempt to save a life under circumstances that indicate heroism, regardless of risk to their own lives. Thank you for your quick thinking and bravery, Ava. Janice Dean, Fox News.
On WMUN 92.5 FM, 1340 AM, and on the YouTube, youtube.com. Look for Wolf Boom Studio B. Subscribe to the channel. Watch for content. We have a lot of previous episodes, Ball State sports items, baseball, and more to come. Plus this show every day, which you can also see in the back of the room when I was wearing red on that particular morning. My name is Steve Lindell. I thank you for listening. Jackson Jacoby, my producer in the Axia Command Center, doing a terrific job again today. I'll talk to you again tomorrow morning here on WMUN.